Hello guys, my name is Bibek Bhattacharyya. Welcome to my channel. I am starting off a descriptive series about the steps you need to follow to start your journey for M.Sc in Germany in engineering related fields. So without any further things, let's get started. Before starting anything, let me first introduce myself. My name is Bibek Bhattacharyya. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from here in Kolkata in 2020. I passed out with an overall DGPA of 8.88, which is German 1.6. I have an IELTS band of 8 and a GRE score of 312 and an analytical score rating of 4.2. So this year I have landed an admit at RWTH Aachen. Two actually. One is in M.Sc in computer aided mechanical engineering and another one is M.Sc in management and engineering in computer aided mechanical engineering. The third admit I got was from TU Berlin in the course of Global Production Engineering, but I chose RWTH because the course curriculum aligns with my professional and my future goals. If you want to study in Germany, the first and foremost thing that you have to do is apply for the APS. The APS thing is very mandatory for visa, and the universities are also making it quite evident that you need to show APS at the time of application. So if you don't have APS by the next intake, then there is going to be problem in your application procedure itself. So apply for the APS first, do all documents after that, because without APS you cannot enter Germany because your visa will not be issued, and many universities may not review your documents because you do not have an APS. So APS is like a screening procedure to check whether all your documents are authentic and none of them are fake. So this is the one thing that you guys have to keep in mind and process it first. So if you have already made up your mind that you want to come to Germany and you have already selected the type of masters that you want to pursue, it can be anything. It can be chemical, it can be process engineering, it can be mechanical engineering, automotive, biomedical, anything. If you have already set your destination and you have already have a target in your mind, then the first thing that you need to do is hop onto the Dachs website. What is DART? DART is a consolidated database which gives you the list of all the registered universities in the Germany, private and public, which are providing professional courses for your masters, bachelors, and also for the PhD. Once you have shortlisted the universities from DART, make sure to visit the university's website individually for two things. Number one, the admission requirements. Many universities have requirements that needs to be fulfilled, like GRE, IELTS, GOET language certificates, your bachelor's marks, ECTS. A lot of things are there. That is number one. And number two is when is the application deadline starting, and then when is the application deadline ending. Many of the students I have seen to miss the deadline because they simply forgot the deadline was ending in a particular date and they missed the chance of getting an admit. Who knows, he would have landed an admit in one of the best universities in Germany, but due to this deadline thing they missed it. So that is the second thing you need to check. The third thing that you need to check in the university's website are the modules which are being offered for study during the course of the master's program. This will give you an detailed highlight about the subjects that you will be reading during your masters. How will it help? You can use this data to write in your statement of purpose, where you can explain that these and these particular modules will help me in this and this way to achieve my professional or my academic goals. You can be working as a researcher, you can be doing your PhD, you can be doing your professional work experience in Germany, you can be doing anything, but you have to mention how those subjects are going to help in achieving your dreams. Okay, so that is the DART thing that you need to do. Okay, after you have researched the DART database in detail, you have to go to Excel, make an Excel file of all the universities you have shortlisted, mention that application start deadline, mention the application end deadline, and spatial requirements, GRE, IELTS, what are the bands required for which universities. Make a complete data set. This will give you a detailed insight about when to start your application and when to plan your application procedure. So the best time to start your preparation for an application is generally a year before the application starts. So if the application is starting in October, application process I'm talking about. So for me, for my winter semester of 23, the global production engineering in TU Berlin, that application window opened in October. So I had to be ready with all my documents before of October. So you need time to prepare for IELTS, you need to prepare for GRE, you need to prepare your documents of letter of recommendation from professors, the statement of purpose, all those things you need to incorporate and get ready before the application. So you need to start at least 6 to 7 months before the application period starts. Next, the universities have different procedures for application taking. Some universities take it on their own website, some universities prefer it to be done through UniAssist. So if you are going through UniAssist, you have to submit the documents either by post or online on the website or through courier, and once they review your document and once you have paid your fees, they will check, review, and if you meet all those criteria, your document will be forwarded to the respective universities, and then the respective universities will take the chance of reviewing and they will finally decide whether you will get an admit card or not. Also, there is one more important thing, the IELTS band. You have to keep at least B2 level of English proficiency, and it starts at 6.0 bands, and you need to maintain 6.0 bands for your visa and for any universities for German for English taught MSc programs. If you're going for a German taught MSc program, then you have to show at least B2 or C1. It varies from university to university in German proficiency. And for the GRE, it is very university specific. Most of the universities in Germany do not ask for any GRE, but RWTH Aachen, HAW Hamburg, and a few other universities like TU Dortmund ask for GRE. Even if it is not written, they will write it that it is strongly recommended that you submit your GRE marks. So you need to prepare for GRE, IELTS, your Goethe exam. So you need to prepare a lot of your time. You need to invest a lot of your time to prepare yourself before you start your application process itself. Letter of recommendations and statement of purpose. So these are also two important documents. You need to have at least 3 letter of recommendation. It is very suggested that you have at least 3, 2 academic, 1 professional. If you are not having a professional, 2 academics will work just fine. It should be mentioned how long you have worked in that company for a professional letter of recommendation, and what was your role, and how good you have contributed, and any sincere and good words from your manager or the HR will be very helpful. In cases of letter of recommendation from your professors, it should mention which subjects he taught you, how good you were in those subjects, how well you performed consistently during the 4 years, and what was your overall rank at the end of the 4 years. Also, it is very important to mention which subjects you researched on, or did your final year projects, and did you publish any papers. It will be very good coming from an HOD. You can get a letter of recommendation from an HOD and one from the assistant professor itself. Make sure that the letter of recommendation has proper letterhead of the university or the organization who is authorizing it, and also proper contact detail of the person who is undersigning that particular letter of recommendation. For statement of purpose, this is a very sensitive document. You guys might already be knowing, but still, I'm giving you an outline. I'll make a separate video explaining how to write an SOP. You don't need to pay any extra fees to any consultant just to write you an SOP. People charge 2 to 3 lakh of rupees just for the application procedure itself, and there is nothing rocket science in it that they do. So you can do it all by yourself. The most important document is how you write about yourself, and nobody can write it better than you. So this is a fact. So first, start off with a small crisp introduction about yourself, how you got motivated and how you started your bachelor's and why you chose engineering first. Then describe about how and which subjects you studied, which subjects fascinated you. Move on to the next part. Talk about your internships, talk about your industrial training or projects that you worked on. After that, slowly move your transition to how you realize that you should come to Germany and start your master's study. So it should be some motivation, like anything, whatever your motivation is, describe that in a very short paragraph, and then move to why you are choosing Germany as your country of study. It could have been anything. It could have been UK, you could have been Canada, US, anything, but why you were choosing Germany. After that, you need to explain why you are choosing that particular university which you are choosing, and how those curriculum and the frameworks which I talked earlier, how is that going to help and abet you in achieving your further academic or professional goals. With that being said, in the last paragraph, talk about your dreams. It can be coming back to India, making a startup, uh, working for the development of some MNCs, working in some countries. Just talk about your dreams that you want to achieve in the last paragraph. You can also mention about how you will be contributing back to your country in the near future. And in the last, just make a very humble request that you take in these things into consideration. Just you put your name, your sincerely, your name, your date, and that's your letter of recommendation and the letter of motivation done. So the letter of motivation and the statement of purpose are the same things. Some universities address them as letter of motivation, and some does it by letter statement of the purpose. So don't get baffled by it. So with that said, I think I have covered more or less all the things that you need to start looking into to start your application process, or to gather information about the application process before you reach Germany. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon, like, share and subscribe, and share it with your friends and families if somebody is looking for information of how to get started for their process of application, and show some love. Thank you.